On the brief this morning, it's a disturbing development where parents of pupils in Kuriga community of Chikun local government area of Kaduna State are still in shock and trying to make sense of what could be going on with their children who are in the hands of bandits after they attacked the government primary school. A resident tells Channels Television that the head teacher is among those affected and abducted. Meanwhile, the state governor, Senator Obasani, has visited the parents of the victims to sympathize with the people and assures them of the safe release of the children.
We're doing our best. I'm going to work with the community leaders. I want to work with the traditional leaders here, as well as the youth, to ensure that every child return back home by the grace of God. I discussed with the National Security Advisor. He has assured me they are also working, and I've also spoke with the GOC Women Mechanized Division. He has also assured me they are also trying. Here we are with the Commissioner of Police and the Director of Census, and all of them are working closely with Kaduna government under my leadership. No child will be left behind. All of them will come back home by the grace of God, inshallah.
We really pray for the safe release of those innocent children. And to the unsatisfactory explanation into suspected fraudulent spendings to the tune of 1.2 billion naira in the Rural Electrification Agency that has now cost the managing director and 3 others their jobs. MD CEO Ahmad, ED Corporate Services Olani Netufo, ED Technical Services Baraka Soju, and ED Rural Electrification Fund Sadato Balgore have been suspended indefinitely following approval by President Bola Tinubu over alleged infractions in financial activities in the last 2 years. As revealed in an investigation, though some funds have also been recovered by the anti-graft agency. Now in their place, the president has approved the appointment of 5 individuals led by a new acting managing director, CEO Abba Aliyu, with a charge to ensure transparency and accountability in the discharge of their duties. Well, also, unfortunately, over 200 women from Borno State will not be celebrating today's Women's Day as they are still in bandits' captivity following their abduction about 2 weeks ago. Perhaps is why the House of Representatives is asking the appropriate authorities to ensure their immediate release to avoid the Chibok school girls' experience. The call is premised on a motion of urgent national importance by Honorable Zainab Gimber.
Also note that the abduction took place last Sunday the 3rd when the women went to fetch firewood in the bush for domestic and commercial purposes. The insurgents freed the old age but abducted about almost 300 even young girls and boys. The House also resolves to task all security agencies to rescue all abducted victims.
We're not done with the House. They have also passed a resolution to investigate the spending of 200 billion naira on the 2023 suspended population census.
The House therefore resolved to mandate the Committee on Population to invite the Director General of the National Population Commission to explain details of how the 200 billion meant for the suspended 2023 population and housing census was spent and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action.
Now, in continuation of the trial of the former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele at the FCT High Court, a forensic audit has confirmed that the document used to request the payment of 6.2 million naira for election observers were forged. The EFCC witness, Mr. Bamiyi Merigal, informed the court that the following forensic analysis of the disputed document, he discovered that there was a clear evidence of forgery of signature and the seal of execution were different from the original. According to him, the signature were not those of former President Muhammadu Buhari or ex-Secretary General of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. The 2 documents, Presidential Directive on Foreign Observer Election and Presidential Directive on Foreign Observer Election, tendered in evidence, were admitted in evidence by the trial judge, Justice Muazu Hamza. And same with the judiciary, the chairman of the body of benches, Justice Mary Peter Odile, has condemned the practice of lawyers addressing the media when fully robed, describing such practice as unethical. She further emphasized it is wrong to do so, particularly after court proceedings, and also frowns on tendency for media trial, which hampers the concept of fair hearing.
Lawyers who engage in media trials sway with public opinion and potentially skew the trajectory of justice, sometimes turning the people against the courts. It is unethical for lawyers to be addressing the media when fully robed, particularly after court sittings, as we have seen in recent times.
Now, conversations are ongoing to bring an end to the menace of crude oil theft that hampers national growth. That assurance is coming from the chairman of the Crude Oil and Management Theft of the National Economic Council and Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma. It says everyone needed to be on the table to achieve the goal of ending crude oil theft is being consulted.
We've been able to do a lot of fact findings. We've made a lot of consultations. We spoke to critical stakeholders, and we are beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel. It is our hope at the end of this assignment, we'll put together a report that will be very bold and courageous, that will be useful to NEC, and if implemented, will stop this monster called crude oil theft, so that our natural resources endowed by God, oil and gas, will be able to tap into it and develop our country. Of course, you know the implication of increasing production and reducing losses is that we will become more solvent. Our naira will also be stronger, and the foreign exchange, access to foreign exchange easier. And the consequence of that is that the cost of living will come down and prices will begin to come down. Inflation will also be reduced.
In business, while the domestic equities market sustains its bullish run, the volatility of the global crude oil price is some way affecting the price of commodities in Nigeria. Renowned economist Bismarck Rewani shared this view, projects that the price of crude oil will hover between, say, $78 to $81 next week due to the weaker dollar as the U.S. Fed's plan to cut interest. He says these movement impacts on commodity prices in the domestic market.
There are many variables that go into price of oil, but for us in Nigeria, what we are looking at today, the most important variable, apart from the price of crude, is the price of diesel. Diesel, as of this morning, was going at about 1,451. It kind of always kind of, it's a proxy mainly for one, the deregulated price of petrol, and two, for the value of the Nigerian currency. When the Nigerian currency weakens, the price of diesel depreciates. When it appreciates, the price of diesel actually increases or reduces. So that is one thing that we need to watch, and that has a knock-on effect onto price inflation and food inflation because the logistic costs come in. As you can see from the slides there, you can see that the price of domestic commodities have actually spiked again on the fear that the naira is about to fall. Our view is that the naira is not about to crash. The naira is going to be creeping back, and we see some slight appreciation in the horizon. If that slight appreciation actually manifests itself, I think that you are going to see those prices begin to trend downwards.
And away from business, besides the certainty that he will be squaring up against his old foe, Donald Trump, in November ahead of the Super Tuesday President Joe Biden is set to announce that the U.S. military will construct a port in Gaza to get more humanitarian aid into the territory by sea. That disclosure from a senior government official shows that the temporary port will increase the daily amount of humanitarian assistance to the Palestinians, but this will not include U.S. troops on the ground in Gaza. Meanwhile, according to the United Nations, a quarter of the population is on the brink of famine. In hours, it will be kickoff time for the Falconets to commence their title defense against Morocco in the African Games. The national under-20 women's team are in a very tough group. That's Group B, that includes Senegal and Cameroon, as they look forward to retain their gold medal that they won in Rabat, Morocco in 2019. Coach Chris Danjuma has already picked 20 players to fly the country's flag in a women's football event. Well, on International Women's Day, those are the stories we've been tracking for you, and of course, we'll ship conversation later on the show.